Hey y'all, it's Maisie Brown. I'm a junior at the Jackson State University, and you are tuned in to Rolling Out.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Rolling Out. I'm Rashad Milligan. Today we are joined by a very, very special guest from the fun state of Mississippi, my former home of 2 years, Maisie Brown. Maisie, how are you doing today?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing amazing. I appreciate it. Thank you asking so much. If I was doing any better, I couldn't stand it. But first things first, obviously Mississippi is in the news. So many people, when news is happening, national news, they come to you. At a very young age, you had a TED Talk a few years ago. You had a full feature from the Clarion Ledger. You are that girl in Mississippi. So, just first things first, how do you kind of shoulder that responsibility of representing your home state?
It's hard, I didn't necessarily ask, kind of for that title or for that influence. And so it can definitely be overwhelming at times. And I had to kind of teach myself that I don't have to have an opinion about everything. Like, I don't have to speak on everything that goes on. And so now, just learning how to delegate and kind of pick and choose how much energy I put into each issue, because if I was to put all my energy into every single issue that Mississippi had, I would have no energy left at the end of the day. And so really just picking and choosing where I put my energy and where I put my focus.
No, I heard that. Now, with the current situation, it's Brett Favre, kind of the Brett Favre welfare scandal. Allegedly, Brett Favre, he was paid by former Governor Phil Bryant $1 million to do speaking engagements and make radio appearances. A lot of these appearances he didn't actually make, and he still made the $1 million. He's paid back those $1 million once the IRS did the first, or the feds, whoever it was, did the first kind of thing on him in 2020. But he still owed the $225,000 interest. Also, there's some text message exchanges. He's asking for money for Southern Miss's facilities, for the volleyball facilities, which happened $5 million to help his daughter's volleyball team over there in Southern Miss in Hattiesburg. And he also asked for money from the prison system in Mississippi to go to a football facility to help recruit Shedeur Sanders, who, of course, that was before, Deion came over to Jackson State and became Coach Prime, but Shedeur followed his steps. So, Maisie, with this being said, I guess just just what is kind of the overall mood in the state reacting to this?
First of all, we have seen Black political leaders or elected officials automatically get arrested and go to jail for stealing way smaller amounts of money. This was millions of dollars from the federal government. It's already a federal crime right now, from the federal government, stealing it from the most vulnerable populations in the state for something as trivial as a volleyball, facility or a football facility to recruit a quarterback. So first of all, the fact that he was even given the option to pay it back is already a red flag. It's not about getting that money back. We're not focusing on that. You need to go to jail. That's embezzlement. You stole. And I don't think that if it was a Black football player, we've seen Black football players crucified and canceled and off the grid for years for things much less serious than stealing millions of dollars from Mississippi's poorest residents. And so I think the fact that criminal charges haven't already been presented and that he's not lowering, I'm not sure if he's lowering up. I'm sure he is, but this should be a criminal investigation. Money was stolen. This is obviously not how this money was supposed to be spent and given to the states. I'm not sure why it's not a criminal investigation versus just, we're trying to see how much money they stole so they can have the opportunity to pay it back. It shouldn't work like that, because in that case, you need to apply that to all other embezzlement cases of money that goes on in Mississippi.
Right. And, my question for you, follow up, I think a lot of people, who this has been a story. People are like, why isn't a story? And it has been covered, but it hasn't been covered at the top of the newscast, as the main story across the nation until recently with the Ime Udoka thing. And I think it's because people don't necessarily get how much that means in the state of Mississippi, because, they see welfare, they're like, okay, government money, blah, blah, blah. But just what are some of the needs that Mississippi has?
the millions of dollars, and I think that I saw like a diagram where somebody had written out just how much money could have been given directly to families with the amount of money that these people stole. So there's a critical need in Mississippi. You know, during the COVID-19 pandemic only exacerbated so many issues that already were taking place in Mississippi, like food insecurity, like rising housing prices that are happening, and higher rent that's happening not only in Mississippi, but all across the country. And wages are not matching up to that increase in inflation and prices and living expenses. So the fact that so many families were either denied or deprived of the millions of dollars that they were supposed to be guaranteed because of their financial position, it only shows just how politicians in Mississippi, you know, these are the people that stole from this ton of money. These are people that don't even really believe that, you know, public assistance should be, you know, what it is today. These are people that are blaming those who are getting public assistance for the position that they're in, but they're not even allowing them to get what they're already supposed to have. And so I think it's just I think that the political, I think that hands are being shown. I think that the card house is falling down. And I think it's really exposing the true colors of not only, you know, our state level politicians, but, you know, their rich buddies. And I think that, you know, I can't remember, John Davis, he's been indicted, you know, and he said he's willing to cooperate and tell everything else he knows. They're not the only ones that, you know, just because they have a buzz name right now, they're not the only ones that were involved in this. There were lots of rich people or affluent people who had their hands in this pot of money for their own personal needs.
I guess just how excuse me, how heartbreaking is it to see it firsthand, you know, growing up in Mississippi, you know, knowing, I mean, because like the thing is, I remember when I was living over there, the kind of main story, one of the main stories was the rising kind of murder rates in the in the state's capital of Jackson. Like it was like the murder rate just kept going up, kept going up. And it's like, that's a byproduct of, you know, like you said, the COVID-19 shutdown, like less jobs, right? So
Right.
people have less money. So more people are resorting to crime to kind of feed their families and feed themselves. And you know, it also goes back to, you know, the education system in Mississippi, and you know, not even knowing that you have more possibilities than just running to the streets and everything like that. I guess just for you growing up in that state, how heartbreaking is it to see, you know, these rich people still stealing money, like you said, you know, for crimes that, you know, their black counterparts were just, you know, kind of harshly penalized for more.
Right. I think that, you know, growing up in Mississippi, regardless of your own, you know, personal socioeconomic status, it's not hard to see the need that exists, not only in Jackson, but across the state of Mississippi. I mean, you know, the Mississippi Delta itself is one of the poorest regions in this country. And a lot of those people receive benefits from these federal funds that are sent down to Mississippi. And so I think that, you know, it's heartbreaking. You know, I've gone to school with so many people who could have benefited from these services and from this money. I've seen, you know, even within my own family and just in my community, what those funds could have done, or, you know, if they were not denied this, what could have happened. And, you know, Mississippi we're a resilient state, but we're also a state in need. There's a lot of, you know, financial, social insecurity, you know, throughout the state that still has yet to be remedied. And so the fact that, you know, these rich people just they don't care about that. It's simple. They don't care about people who don't have what they have, and they don't care about people who don't look like them. Um, and so it's really exposing a deeper issue of what we're facing in this state. And it's a lot of white privilege going on with this whole discussion. Just the fact that, you know, charges are not being thrown around at everybody involved. We have the text messages. I mean, they make it clear. They make it clear. I know we have to say like allegedly, you know, we have to say that as a, you know, precautionary measure, but I mean, they're saying what they said. And even when Governor Phil Bryant, you know, even mentioned, you know, the fact that these funds are like closely monitored as to where they're spent, and, you know, that could be possibly a crime, Brett Favre did not care. He didn't care. He made over, I forgot the number, so many millions during his career as a football player. And, you know, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. And that's kind of white, that's like white privilege encapsulated. It's just never enough.
Um, I have a couple questions. I guess the side lighter. What, were you ever a fan of Brett Favre growing up?
No, I wasn't a fan of Brett Favre growing up. No.
Is it like a personal thing? Was it a football thing, or is it just just you
I've
whatever?
always been a Saints fan, so I grew up
Okay.
on Drew Brees. I grew up on Drew Brees. I never grew up on Brett Favre. No.
Okay, I heard it. I heard it. And then the second question I had: what is the update on the water situation in Jackson?
So, we were on our boil water notice for about 6 weeks. The Department of Health, they lifted it. But it seems like we're backsliding. We've had a lot of water main breaks over the past week or so. We've had a school, had to kind of close and go back virtual for a couple of days because the water pressure had gotten so low. I mean, I have friends and family whose water is back to being brown, or the water pressure again is very low. And so it's just like what I told people was going to happen. I'm like, look, they're going to say everything is back to normal, everything's back good, and then in a couple weeks, streets and neighborhoods are going to go right back on boil water notices. And that's exactly what happened. And so the city is still in need of water for some communities. I'm actually doing some deliveries later on today, but there has to be a longer term solution that we're looking at to remedy this problem until that water treatment plant is fixed. Continuously bringing in thousands of cases of water every day is, first of all, not environmentally friendly, but it's simply not sustainable, and it's still a rapid response. So I definitely think that the focus has to be shifted, to not only fixing the plant and the pipes, which is going to take lots and lots of money, but also helping citizens obtain water filtration systems that will allow them to still use the water in the midst of these boil water notices.
Many of the churches over here in Atlanta, we've been doing water drives and everything, and driving it down to Jackson. So you're saying that we still need to do that?
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to turn away any water right now. We're not turning away water, but I definitely have been working with a couple of, corporations to try to get some water filters here, so that regardless of, what the state of the water is, it's still safe for people to use.
Okay. And what town of Mississippi are you in? Just
Jackson.
Jackson. Oh, okay. So you're in Jackson.
Yeah.
Um, okay. So I guess just wrapping up, like what are some things that we can do as a people? As Black people, we all have roots that go back to Mississippi,
Right.
all over the country. So what are some things that we can do to help our people over there in Mississippi?
Yeah, Time Magazine has a really good article on just like how to help with the water crisis in Mississippi. They have a list of organizations that you can donate directly to, who are grassroots organizations right here in Jackson, who are helping directly impacted people. And so I would definitely say, donate to the organizations who are already here doing the work. It makes it a lot easier for us to keep it up when we have those funds continuing in. And for those who just wanted to send water, we're accepting that too. Just try to reach out to those organizations and see how you need to send it. If you want them to order it, how you go about it. Continue being continuous social media of the issue, and the fact just because it's not at the top of the news cycle doesn't mean that the problem still doesn't persist, and that people not going without. And so that even if you can afford to, maybe send a couple water filters, or reach out to some organizations and say water filters or water pitchers or straws, that I will donate to you to give to families in need. So those are just a few ways you can definitely help out with what's going on.
Macy, we appreciate the time so much. Like I said at the beginning, we want to continue to give you your flowers. We appreciate all the work that you're putting in over there in Mississippi. For those of y'all who don't know, she's not gonna let y'all know. She was sick yesterday. She was like, "Oh man, I don't even know if I can speak." She wrote, and she gets back to it the very next day, less than 24 hours later, and she's going up, waking up first thing in the morning, doing the interview. She's going out to go back and make some deliveries with the water situation. She's putting in the work, and for that, Macy, we want to say your work is not in vain. We thank you so much. We salute you. We give you flowers right here. Where can the people find you on social media and continue, supporting you?
Yeah, you can find me at Maisie Maisie Brown JXN, and that is my social media handle on everything.
All right, Maisie Brown, we appreciate it so much. Rashad Milligan, until next time, you all take care of yourselves.